Crisp. Like what they call potato chips in England.
That's good.
Crispy Rice Krispies.
I thought you were going to say crisp like a potato chip because they are crisp, but that really explains the England name.
Welcome to WayTooBroad, a show and tell program for really, really ridiculously excited grown-ups. I'm Hannah, and these are my regular co-hosts only, Erin and Ben.
Only us. Sorry, everybody. Hi, Hannah. Hi, Ben.
Hi, Erin.
Hello. Yeah, but use too is Blue's Clues.
Hey, Blue's Clues.
Blue's Clues is coming back.
Is it?
Why?
That's news clues.
Well, I do want to get into that, but I want to thank...
No, I think we got everything we could get out of that.
Okay. He has a new friend, and he's like 3D now.
That's yeah, I'm gonna look at it.
But he's still like, I don't know, he looks okay. The new friend... I want to thank Erin's best friend, Sarah, for being on the pod last week. I want to apologize to the listener for the sound thing, although I think it could have been a lot worse. If I wasn't such a great editor.
Yeah,
but
thank you, Hannah. Thank you, Sarah. That was super fun to have you on. Sorry, listener. We should apologize. I neglected to test after I turned the volume up, so that's really on me. And thank you, Hannah, for being such a thorough editor. It was not bad.
It wasn't bad. It wasn't great, but it wasn't bad.
Yeah, it was fine.
I didn't mean to turn that into a compliment to myself when I started the sentence, and I do apologize for that.
But also,
yes, thank you,
you're
Sarah.
welcome. You know what I mean? You know what I mean?
Sarah was a total delight, as always,
Indeed.
and we enjoyed having her.
We did. Thank you so much, Sarah.
Great job, Sarah.
Oh, Erin, I was thinking that you were glowing before we started recording, and now I'm realizing it's because you've been meeting the sun all week.
Oh, yes.
Did you get some sun?
I guess so. I've been putting on a lot of sunscreen, but I guess there's a point where, your sunscreen washes off in the water. And do I look tan? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, you're glowing.
Oh, wow. I don't feel like those are the same words or terms
that's what people say to tan people at all.
I don't really feel like that's like kind of in the tan compliment bucket.
I feel like it is.
Okay.
You are
Thank
outnumbered though, so.
Well,
as usual.
Hannah's just blazing her own trail. So thank you, Hannah. I am glowing.
From radiation from the sun.
Yeah, that's probably true. I'm probably subtly glowing. You're right. Thank you.
You're welcome. Did you have a good rest of your dawn patrol?
Yeah, it was a bit of a shame that we had to record the podcast so early, which was our kind of scheduling issues. But yeah, the rest of the week was super fun. I did not catch a wave standing up, but I did get to spend a lot of really good time standing up, and I was moving standing up, and I was heading towards shore. And then I probably could have caught a wave, but I chickened out and kind of fell off. But on the last day, we had really good weather. We had kind of a really choppy day, and that was kind of good to kind of see what that was like. On the last day, we went out past the surf zone, which is a term I had never learned before, but makes sense and is pretty self-explanatory. But beyond the surf zone is the swell, where it's not as wavy. It's like pre-wave. And there were dolphins out there,
cool.
just right fucking there in front of us. They weren't fucking, they were there. I only say that because they're known to do that. But they were just right there, to the point where I waited a second to try to stand up on my board because I didn't want to fall on a dolphin.
Oh my god.
So that's
really
Cool.
amazing.
Although in hindsight, maybe that would have been cool.
I was gonna say it probably wouldn't have hurt them.
Yeah, they probably would have been fine. So yeah, so it was really neat. We had a great time. It was a super fun trip. And then I was so tired on one of the days I got back. I just slept and slept and slept. So
That sounds lovely, too.
Yeah, it was great.
That was more what my week's been about.
Sleeping?
Sleeping. We gotta do drinks, though.
Drinks. Let's do it.
You want to know what I'm drinking?
Yes.
I have 3 drinks. I have been waiting to open this seltzer since the moment I made it. This is the SodaStream seltzer, so I can try to get the crispest possible for you.
Let's see how it does on the fizzometer.
Okay, here we go. 3, 2, 1.
Wow.
Ooh, that is crisp.
That was fucking strong.
That pierced my ear, Chris.
I feel like I get better every morning at work. I feel like it's louder than that.
Crisp,
I'm
like
disappointed.
a potato chip in England.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I feel like I've had it crispier, but that's fine. I have also a lemon spindrift.
Hey.
Welcome back
Thank
to
you,
Spindrift.
Spindrift.
Corner.
Wow, that just makes the mouth water.
Yeah, I do love a lemon
I
spindrift.
do.
My parents and Ben's parents, who are the same people,
You guys figure
Aunt
it
Brown
out.
and Uncle Brown,
It's a riddle.
have been.
I have a riddle. Ben and Hannah are the same people, but their parents are the same people. What are they?
Doctor is the mom.
Oh, man.
That punchline has like ruined that riddle forever.
I know.
It's like a really good riddle and a really good way to expose people's sexism, and now that's over.
No, you could just say, it's the gay dad.
Gotcha.
Gotcha. Exposing heteronormativity.
Nice. I like it. What was the question though?
There was no question. No. You were telling a story.
You had
You
your
had an
third
awkward
drink.
way to explain.
Aunt Brown and Uncle Brown have been chit-chatting with Spindrift on Twitter all week.
What?
Wait,
For
like
real?
more than that one tweet?
So Mom tweeted at us to tell us how afraid they are of running out of Spindrift, and she sent a picture of their own literal Spindrift corner, which is what I tweeted back at her about it. And
That was funny.
thank you. And then Spindrift retweeted that and said, "Fear of running out is the new FOMO." And then my dad replied to that and said, "Hey, Spindrift, that's my house. You should consider doing a subscription program or..."
Get Market Basket to start carrying cucumber.
Yeah. And then they replied to him. And then they replied to him and said they already do a subscription program on their website and through Amazon, which I didn't know. So that's some free
Wow.
advertising for that, for anybody
Yeah.
who's listening to this. But yeah, so that was actually all one day. It hasn't really been all week, but you know,
It's,
they're
you
just
know,
really buddy.
that was like, what, today? So,
Or yesterday. Was it
Okay.
today? It was
there's
yesterday.
still time in the week for it to happen all week, is what I'm saying.
That's true.
I'm leaving
That's
room
true.
for that.
That is true, because the week's not over yet.
That's
I don't
right.
want to break the fourth wall, but we do record these in advance of when they're released.
These are live. Call in.
I do have a third drink real quick, which our producer Ian made for me, which has an actual like twist of lemon in it, or what used to be a twist. It's a little, as Erin described it, a weeknight size adult beverage. But it's in a martini glass, and it's a whiskey drink with lemon and honey, and that's probably, there's more ingredients than they'll be texted to me later.
Looks delicious.
Mm-hmm.
It's not weak, but it's a weeknight portion.
It's not weak. It's really good, and it's tart, and it's nice, and I like it.
Nice.
Yes.
I bet the lemon spindrift would be good in there too, if you wanted to
Yeah.
fill her up.
Maybe he did that. I don't know if he did that or not, but there's definitely also like fresh lemon in it.
Nice. That's delicious.
Baby Ben, what are you drinking?
You know, I got a water. It's mostly empty.
Just
You
some
know.
water.
You know
You
how
know.
I do.
Classic sadness.
Yeah, the usual.
Erin.
I have an apricot liqueur.
Oh, nice.
Apricot.
I learned- Apricot.
I hardly know her.
About. Wow. I learned a new thing about our garage fridge, which is where we keep all of our extracurricular drinks. And it's that if you hold the beverage you want in your mind while you open the door, it flies out at you. As I was going to get so La Croix was on sale at our store. It was like BOGO. So we BOGO'd. We went. And so we have like lots of options. And so as I was approaching the fridge, I was like, apricot La Croix. And I like literally said that in my mind. I opened the door and one like flew out at me. So
cool.
That's fun. Yeah. Yeah, it's like beverage for your thoughts.
It's like the Mirror of Erised.
Yeah.
But just for seltzers.
Right. Mirror of Seltzer said.
Is that what that did?
I don't know.
It showed you
which one you
desire.
want. Yeah, that would be good if you didn't know what you wanted.
It's like the room of requirement. It's like the fridge of requirement.
It's like the fridge of requirement, right? It's like a vending machine. It's like a soda dispenser machine. Except instead of a coinage, you just have thought.
Wow.
Yeah.
So magic.
And then it vends.
Right into your face.
Right on your foot. So anyway, that's what I'm drinking.
Nice.
Oh, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
I wanted to follow up a little more on last week's Obsessions. We already talked about Erin's Dawn Patrol. I want to tell Ben, we've been rewatching The Good Place all week this week. And it's so fucking good. I've turned to Ian like half a dozen times and been like, why is this show so good?
Yeah, it's amazing. I watched season 3. We got it on Amazon because we both just really wanted to watch it.
Nice.
And it was so good.
Yeah. Every episode is great. It's constantly reinventing itself. It's so funny.
I will watch it.
Will you, though?
And I will. I want some format for like jokes that take a really long time to set up and have a amusing enough punchline, but not for the immense amount of setup that is needed. I want like I want like a podcast. I love those.
I know. Sometimes those things that take a long time to set up and never really pay off properly are like the funniest things that happen to you all day.
Yeah. I have one of those that's my favorite, but I will not take 15 minutes up of this podcast for like a mildly amusing punchline. That takes 15 minutes to talk about. But I want like a format for those.
It's just like the long wind up.
Yeah.
A new podcast. Okay.
Yeah. Long explanations for like mediocre.
That'll really sell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exhausting expositions for mediocre punchlines or something like that. For poultry punchlines, it's got to be alliterative.
Okay, we'll workshop it.
Exasperating.
Did you say poultry?
Expositions for poultry punchline. I don't think it's the first time I've said poultry when I meant poultry.
They're very.
They're
similar.
only punchlines about poultry.
Oh, it's like a minor mouth movement.
Minor mouth movement is alliterative.
Cough was really perfect.
The consumption, I believe.
Anybody else have upfront stuff?
I mean, I have boobs.
I listened to some episodes of You're Wrong About after we talked about it.
Yeah, which episodes?
Exorcism and homelessness. And then I started from the beginning.
Isn't it such a great podcast?
Really great.
Sarah Marshall's like quips. I live for those. They give me life.
It's so, you learn so much.
Yeah.
You learn so much.
You learn so much.
They're so great, and they're like such nerds.
Yeah, it's
so
really
good.
great.
Mm-hmm.
It's so good. I love them. They have a Patreon. I've been meaning to
patronize.
Love it. That's a good upfront thing, Ben.
Thank
I finished We've Always Lived in the Castle. I really enjoyed it. What a nice little read.
Yeah, it's like not scary, right? It's like eerie.
It's eerie, and it has such an interesting juxtaposition between the tone of the narration and the events that are taking place. It's really interesting. I liked it a lot.
Yeah, it's good. I would recommend it.
It's eerie. Eerie is the right word.
Yeah,
like queer and eerie, but not queer gay, but like queer is like strange. Query. It's query.
It's query.
But not the Cameron Esposito podcast.
No, it's spelled differently. Queerie.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yep. Right.
Well, that clears that up.
Yeah, we did it. We solved it.
That much we know is settled law.
And I'm excited to see the movie now.
Yes, that's right. That came out. I didn't go see it. I said I was going to.
You liar.
You lied.
Oh, I saw Detective Pikachu. That's another upfront thing. Actually, Kylie and I watched like 3 movies this weekend.
I heard you say I sounded like Pikachu. What movies did you see?
We saw
Deflective Pikachu.
We saw Detective Pikachu in theaters. And then at home we watched John Wick and we watched Salt.
You watched John Wick 1?
Yes.
Nice.
Because none of us have seen any of... None of us.
None of you?
Neither of us have seen any of them.
Kylie and I, nor the cats, have seen it.
Yeah, no, the cats haven't seen any of them either. It was really good.
Yeah.
What's
Kylie,
the deal with it?
It's action movie dessert. That's what Kylie called it.
Keanu Reeves shoot bang bang.
Yeah, pretty much. But it's just like it's like not. It's just
shoot.
It's good though. It's like a good action movie.
Yeah.
Also,
Everybody love him right now.
I learned recently that the director of that movie and the whole series was Keanu Reeves' stunt double in The Matrix.
That's right. My mom, these are like my mom's favorite movies, so she told me that.
They're really, it was like better than I expected, because it's like everyone I fucking know, I feel like, loves John Wick. And a lot of people that like surprise me how much they love it, because like I feel like generally that kind of movie I'm like, about. But I did really enjoy it.
If you're not like an action movie person like me, I'm not. Like, I'm not one.
Yep.
Would you still like it?
Yeah, I don't consider myself an action movie person, and I
Do you
still
need to clarify a few more times that you were not an action movie person? I don't think you did it enough times in that one segment. Me, not action movie fan. I'm not an action movie fan. I'm a not action movie fan. Would I like it not being an action movie fan? Do you think brother of a not action movie fan?
Oh, you gave away the riddle.
First thing you both thought of was to give away the riddle. I feel like guilt, and I don't know why. It's so ridiculous. Oh my god. Hopefully the listener had enough time to figure that out on their own.
It's true. Eventually you have to give them the solution or they get frustrated.
Yeah.
Wow. Amazing.
Okay.
I saw John Wick 1 and 2 and liked.
Did you ask what Salt was also?
Yeah, I did ask.
It's an Angelina Jolie movie where she plays a CIA agent, and the CIA captures this like Russian spy who tells them that there's another Russian spy like in their midst who was like trained as a child to infiltrate America, and then he says that her name is Evelyn Salt, which is the Angelina Jolie's character's name, and you basically spend the whole movie not knowing whether she is actually or not. It's really cool.
Cool. Salty.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
You would recommend all 3 of those movies?
I would recommend...
For a non-action movie fan.
I would... I mean, here's the order of how much I liked them was John Wick, Salt, and then Detective Pikachu.
Oh, wow.
Detective Pikachu is not good, but I enjoyed watching it.
Oh, wow.
Which is from what I can tell, how a lot of people felt about it. The plot is bad, and most of the acting is bad. But the Pokemon look great. And, like, you know, the world they've, like, created is really cool.
The Pokemon were hot, but...
I'd fuck the Pokemon, but overall, wouldn't recommend the movie.
Yeah. Well.
Wow. Okay, good to know.
Good to know.
Thanks.
That was Ben's movie corner.
Yeah, apparently. I don't know why we watched so many this weekend, but we just did.
Wow, you guys just, like, tore it up. With 3 movies.
That's not even that many.
It's just
we watched one a day.
Yeah.
Actually, I think we might have watched John Wick and Salt in the same day.
What?
Whoa. You guys need an intervention.
We're officially cinephiles now.
You gotta That's funny. Good for you. Good for you guys. Live a little. You know.
Thanks.
I think you're officially Pokemon files now.
Yeah.
You at least, Ben.
Yeah. They're not gonna let you back in that theater. Gotta poke 'em all.
Oh no. Alright.
Yeah, that's good. You first.
Me first. We should pop in. Me first.
Let's pop.
We pop. I have another fun edition of You Choose My Obsession For Me corner.
Hey.
Choose your own adventure.
Okay. Choose your own adventure, Hannah style. Would you like to hear about a nostalgic toy, or an album of music, or a YouTube sensation that I haven't talked about before?
I'm gonna selfishly choose the album of music because I think it's the one that I recommended to you, and I would love to hear your thoughts on it. But we don't have to do that.
My vote was nostalgic toy.
Okay, well, that I wasn't sure I was going to make a whole obsession out of, so let me just make it a quick upfront thing. I just discovered it's actually not new. They came out last year because it was for the 35th anniversary of the original launch of My Little Pony, which first launched in 1983. And I was, I don't know if you remember this about me, Erin, but, and I sort of didn't remember it about me until I saw this toy in the stores, but I was like full on obsessed with My Little Ponies when I was little.
I don't remember that.
I loved them. I loved them. I had a lot of them.
One.
Yeah. Let me
show you my collection.
Let me actually show you what I bought this week. Hold on. I'll be right back.
I just spent so much time around Hannah in my youth. I've never seen her with a My Little Pony in her hand.
I haven't either, but she might have grown out of it by the time I would remember anything.
Yeah.
I don't know. What age did you grow out of My Little Pony?
Apparently never. Apparently never.
I feel like she had like one My Little Pony in particular that she like kept on her dresser.
I did. That one wasn't a real My Little Pony, though. That was like
it was just like a horse, right?
Yeah, it was a tall horse.
Yeah, I remember that.
I had a whole, I had like 3 suitcases full of toys, and 2 of them, I think 2 were full of Barbies and 1 was full of My Little Ponies.
Wow.
And at one point, I intended to give away the Barbies because I gave no shits about them, but I accidentally also gave away the My Little Ponies, and I was devastated.
Oh, no.
So...
You dumbass. Dumb little kid.
I saw this at Target.
Oh.
Which is the original version of a pony named Bluebell, which I will post a picture of what it looks like on Twitter. She's a blue pony in the original style, so like people know My Little Pony now from like the animated series and from the toys that are in the store. It's like they kind of changed the proportions a lot and made them look more like Bratz dolls, sort of. But they used to just look like little ponies with nice colored hair and stuff. And
that's so nice.
Did they just start as toys
on their butts? Yeah, I think so. Actually,
it started as ponies, like little ponies, little ones.
The original concept was from Little Ponies, and then they made those into toys. And then they did also make this thing, which if I had planned on it, I would have brought the link for it. But maybe I'll track it down later. But another thing I did listen to when I was little. Before there were other options, was cassette tapes of My Little Pony stories. that were one of the first things in my life that ever like truly creeped me out, because they had these really like high ethereal voices, and they just like would tell these stories, and like I don't know, I wasn't always like old enough or paying enough attention to follow them, but so it would just be like this eerie high pitched like voice all the time. I think Mom might have actually gotten me some of them like around the time that my brothers were born, Ben being one of those, as we revealed earlier.
As I fucking spoiled, I apologize.
So it might be from around that time that I got those tapes. But anyway, I did find one of those on YouTube this week and played it for Ian. And then I also, after I originally found that one, I went online to see, because, so as I said, these were originally for the 35th anniversary, which was in 2018. So they've actually been out for a while, and I didn't know. So I was like scrambling because I wanted to find more of them, and I found a 5-piece set on Walmart.com.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
There's a bunch of rainbow ponies, and I bought that as well because
I like that
wanted
style
to.
much more. It's so different than what I know to be My Little Pony. These look like ponies.
Yeah, they look like ponies.
That was my main complaint about My Little Pony, is it didn't really look like a pony.
It didn't look like My Little Pony.
It like felt like it was mine, but it didn't look like a pony.
Right. So some of those, I think I had a lot of these, the ones that I have here, like in my original collection, but like one or two of them I absolutely definitely had. And so that's kind of exciting for me, because I'm sure they were in worse shape in my original collection.
That's awesome. What are you going to do with them?
I need to find them at home.
Brush them.
I have brushed them a little bit, but I need to find them a home somewhere, which is going to be hard, where they can like not just, I don't want to like just throw them in a box or whatever.
Yeah.
So they're still in their packaging for now, so that, I mean, I've opened them up, but they're back in their packaging now so that they don't get like thrown around or anything. Tarnished. So we'll see where they end up, but I was just excited about that. And I might try to see if I can track down a few more of them before they all disappear. And it's also kind of interesting because like knowing what I know now about how licensing works and how like how like these things are produced, I know a little more about that. Like I have a feeling that what happened was that this company that made these ponies might be the original My Little Ponies company, or some affiliate of theirs. And then like they licensed out the name from Hasbro, who now owns it. And it's just like kind of interesting because it's like the original, but it's got all these like extra marks and stuff on it that I'm kind of like, I don't know. It's interesting to like probably only me in the whole world, but
probably not in the whole world. Certainly not in the whole world.
Maybe in this whole podcast.
Right. Okay. So that was...
I'm excited for you. It seems like a lovely happenstance to like happen.
Yeah.
Upon.
I like didn't...
Your stance must have been happy.
Yeah. Yeah. I didn't know it was there. We just decided to take a turn through the, like, we were actually down near the board games.
The turnabout the Target.
Yeah, we do that sometimes.
I like it.
And we went through like, we like to go by the board games now and then, and it was like on an end cap facing the board game, so I happened to see it. So that was pretty exciting.
Did you gasp aloud?
I'm sure I did, yeah.
I'm sure you did.
Yeah.
Love it.
I've never been accused of being like a subtle person.
I've never gasped quietly. It's always aloud.
Yeah.
I've never gasped quietly.
Okay, so that was, once I shorten it down to cut out the part where I like left the room for a minute or two, that'll be just another upfront thing, because my real obsession is the album Good at Falling by the Japanese House.
Which Japanese house?
The Japanese House.
I just realized I was celebrating with a silent gesture. I was like shimmying my shoulder.
Oh, I didn't even have the camera up. I thought your internet was broken again.
No, I was doing a little shimmy. I like that album. I listened to it all day today.
So Erin sent me this album a few weeks ago, didn't you?
Yeah.
And it was a recommendation, but it also was like specifically because you wanted to see how I heard the voice of the lead
I was
singer.
entertaining it as an obsession.
Oh, okay.
I was, at the time, a few weeks ago, it had just come out, and I was entertaining it as an obsession, and I wanted to get Hannah's, like, unadulterated, like, impression of it.
And then I didn't answer you.
Yeah, huh?
And then I didn't answer you.
Yeah, and then you fucking ignored me, and then when I sent it to you again, you, like, looked up a bunch of stuff about the artist before, which is totally fine. But you go on. Explain. You go on. This is your...
Well, I did, it's confession time, Erin, okay? And I did listen to one of the songs, or ish, like, when you first sent it to me, and I was not taken with it. Mm-hmm. I was kind of, like, not in the right headspace or something. And so I didn't really, like, give it, like, multiple songs chance until you came back and asked me about it again.
Oh, okay.
And at that point, I was, like, sort of, it took a while. Like, this album really grew on me slowly, but so deeply that, like, I walked away from my desk today to go do something and left my headphones at my desk. And when I came back, I had that thing happen where, like, I had the song, I don't remember which song it was, but I had it stuck in my head. And I couldn't exactly figure out why. And then when I turned my Spotify back on, it turned out that, like, I had been within the first few notes of that song when I paused it. And, like, my brain knew that it was coming and was ready for it.
Yeah. Love it.
I just think, I was actually thinking about it today. Like, I feel like in general, so this album, I don't know what genre does she define it as? Do you know?
Talk about who the Japanese House is.
Okay. So the Japanese House is one, artist. What's her name?
Amber Bain.
What's her name? Amber Bain. Yes. She's from England.
It is Amber Bain.
Yeah, I wasn't joking.
But you always do. You always do. You always come up with, like, some crazy name.
That's true. I do that.
You do that all the time. And you say it in such a straight face. That was actually what was funny. It was I, like, laughed, like, really loudly, and then I was like, oh, fuck, he might be being actually serious. Which also made me laugh.
Yeah, well, it's also, like, it kind of rhymes with what's her name. Like, she just,
And it sounds like a fake name you would make up.
Yeah.
Like a real first name, and then you're like scrambling for a last name.
Yeah, and you're like, Batman, Bane. Like that.
English indie pop?
English indie pop. Is that, yeah. Okay, indie pop, dream pop, folktronica is listed on Wikipedia, which I think actually is a great way to put it. Electropop, I don't know as much. But she's one person, kind of like Death Cab for Cutie is just that one guy. She's
or
just
Iron
this
and Wine.
one. Or Iron and Wine, yeah.
I didn't know that either of those were just one person. Death Cab is just Ben Gibbard?
Am I thinking? No, it's not. I'm not thinking of Death Cab. Who am I thinking of?
I don't know.
Hands Down.
Dashboard Confessional.
Dashboard Confessional, thank you. Another car-related.
And, like, D.
Yeah. Yeah. Sorry, everyone.
Car-related and D.
And yeah, she is at least queer, possibly lesbian. I haven't, like, looked into her too much, but she sings a lot about women.
Queer.
Least queer.
This whole album is about, I don't know if the whole album, but at least that her single Lilo is about a breakup that she went through in the recent past. And a few of the songs are about that, potentially the whole thing.
I think probably the whole thing, especially like I looked up, one of the songs is called We Talk All the Time, and I think that's like pretty autobiographical, and also Marika is Sleeping. I think Marika is her, like, ex-girlfriend.
Who she made the video for Lilo with.
I think so.
Which, yeah, because even I read an interview about the new album the Good at Falling album, and about that video specifically. It was the first single that she put out was for a song called Lilo, which is beautiful. And in the video, she co-stars with her ex-girlfriend, who, like, I'm sorry, but they look so alike.
likes.
We thought it was. This is the thing, okay? We've watched 2 videos in a row from her. One of them was the Lilo video with her ex-girlfriend, and the other one was the video for the first song on the album, which Maybe You're the Reason is the name of it. And in that video, her co-star is herself. She like does a bunch of like, you know, camera trick stuff to be like lying next to herself and like hugging herself. I'm like 100% sure that it's her. So she has like this one video where she's like playing alongside herself, and then this other video where she's playing alongside her ex-girlfriend who looks just like her.
Wow.
Like when they do the close-up face things, you can tell they're different people. But that's the only time. I'm sorry.
That's really funny.
But it's beautiful. The whole album's just really beautiful. She like did the thing where she went off into like the desert. She recorded some of it in Bon Iver's like home studio or something. And,
right.
Yeah, and like another spot, I think there were like 2 different places she recorded it, but you know, just went off away from everything and just worked on the music for a long time. And I think it really shows. It's like incredibly atmospheric, but it's also like and you absolutely, like, I'm kind of relying on you to jump in, Erin, because as everyone knows, I didn't do any research ahead of this. But it's like, it's very electronic. That's why, like, I think folktronic is a really interesting way to put it, because it's got a whole lot of electronic elements. There's like, she plays the synth and the sampler and the keyboard, and then also she plays guitar, bass, and drums. I'm looking at her Wikipedia now, and she uses them all, you know, to great advantage, and makes all kinds of fun, interesting noises with them, and does a lot of things that in other hands have and will and do like sound very like would almost be too much for someone like Ian to listen to, who has like sometimes delicate sensibilities when it comes to music. You know, like just kind of like too much noise is too much noise. You too, Erin. Sometimes you're like that with things. Like they can just be like too much noise. I usually am a little more tolerant of that stuff. But even though there's so much electronicness to this music, it's so soothing, and it just like washes over you. And the lyrics are beautiful. And there are sometimes like I'm sure you noticed this too, where like it took me a really long time to realize why the song Maybe You're the Reason is called Maybe You're the Reason, because in the chorus, she does some like something to her. She does her own backing vocals, I'm pretty sure, and she does the some effect on her voice. And for a long time, I thought it was just like another instrument or another keyboard riff. And like finally, after like like probably a dozen times listening to it, I realized she was singing "Maybe You're the Reason" like behind her like other vocals. Like,
I'll have to listen to that again.
Yeah, there's a few spots like that where like she has a great range, and sometimes her voice almost sounds like another instrument.
Yeah, so like that's a really good point about it, like not being electronic and being like really interesting music, but not being overpowering. It's really like driven by lyrics, and her voice is really great, and really like the songs are very emotional, which is really to my music sensibilities. When I first, I was excited for this album because it's the longest album she has. She only has like singles and like EPs up until this point. And, I've been a fan. I like randomly got suggested, I think from Discover Weekly, got some Japanese house suggested to me. And I always thought that it was just like a guy singing. So I was like, I listened to a lot of Japanese house, just like never looking at the About page, just like putting on the album, you know, the EPs, and really enjoying them, just thinking it was just like some dude. And then there was just this one song, I think it's called Leon. And I was like, is this guy singing about another guy? And I look it up, and I was like, no, it's actually inspired from a movie. So she's actually singing about a guy, but she's actually singing about a guy from the perspective of a guy. Anyway, but then I discovered this music that I really like is gay music. And I was like, you know me, I was just absolutely delighted by that. So, yeah, it's really great. One thing I'll point out, it always makes me laugh, is that she kind of plays, just like Bon Iver does, like plays around with like spelling and stuff. Track 7 is called Something Far Too Good to Feel, although it looks like Something Fart Good to Feel. I always see fart. The only thing I see is like right in the middle of that word is fart.
Me too.
Something fart too good to feel. You know, it does feel good to fart, so that tracks.
Oh my god. Yeah. So it's one of those albums, if you listen to it, which I do recommend, you'll just progressively, like, each song, you will become...
I do not like action movies.
I do not like action movies, and I do recommend this album. You will get each song stuck in your head, like, one at a time. And then eventually, by the time that it's done with you, you'll have had that with, like, every song on the album, and you'll just love all of them.
It's great, and it's great work music. I really love this album. I've listened to it just a million times. It's really great.
It's awesome. Everyone listen to it. The Japanese House, Good at Falling. I haven't listened to any of her other music.
Is Hannah a robot for you too, Erin?
Hannah roboted a little bit there. What did you say,
Am
Hannah?
I back?
Yeah, you're back.
I just said I do recommend this album, and I do not recommend action movies.
Great.
I don't like them.
Duly noted. Duly noted for the very first time.
No, I was just saying I'll have to listen to the other EPs too, because I've only listened to the album.
Oh yeah, I think it's like this album wasn't any departure from her normal thing. It was like totally in line with her normal music, and delightfully so. So I think you'll enjoy her other stuff also.
Awesome.
One song that I really like, this might be a spoiler to the riddle, but it's Sister is a really good one that I really love. Off of Pools to Bathe in on 2005.
You already ruined the riddle.
I know. I'm just furthering. I just continue if you missed it the first time. But yeah, definitely check out that song as you explore her. I'm sure you will give a thorough listen to all of her other stuff. Thorough.
Erin, what's your favorite song on Good at Falling?
I really like We Talk All the Time. I haven't listened to this album at all when I'm not working, so I know all the songs, but I don't have a good grasp of like which one is to which name.
We listen to them. Ian is, as I said, can be a delicate flower when it comes to music, and so when there's something he like lets me play forever and ever and ever on repeat, which has always been my favorite style of consuming new albums, I really take advantage of that. So we have listened to it a lot.
I think I like Something Far Too Good to Feel.
I love Follow My Girl, which is the song before that. Is like is among my favorite songs, maybe just like in the world.
That's a good one. Yeah.
That's a good one.
Yeah, this is a good album.
I mean, I like all of these. I'm like trying to listen to these and to be like, oh yeah, I like this one. But I'm like, no, I like this one. Oh, I like this one. I like this one. I like the whole thing. So I don't skip any of them. Let's just say that.
All right, cool. Yeah, so everybody check it out. That's it. Thanks for letting me steal your obsession.
I don't skip any, and I don't like action movies. It's kind of my thing.
Thanks for letting me steal your obsession with permission.
Yeah, I'm so glad you could take it, because the ship had kind of sailed on it, so I'm really glad that you picked it up. I'm glad you picked that ship up and sailed on it. Sailed back. Sailed back with it. Cool. Great one, Han.
Thanks.
Ben
is up next, now that we've broken the wheel.
I have a very similar obsession. It's also a young female artist.
Yay.
Who is in the pop/electro pop genre, which is not, I don't think that was among the ones listed for Japanese House, but from what you were talking about, it sounds like their music is relatively similar. Is that true?
It's this is an interesting study in how I feel like they are.
It's Billie Eilish,
also
by the way.
Very much not. Right. It's Billie Eilish.
Specifically her I guess debut like full length album called When We Fall Asleep, Where Do We Go? So I know Hannah's listened to this album. Have you listened to this album or heard of Billie Eilish, Erin?
I didn't listen to this album, sadly. I thought I hadn't heard of Billie Eilish, but I realized one of her songs, Ocean Eyes, the remix, the Astronomy remix, is on my like repeat listen. I like listen to that song all the time.
Have you heard the song Lovely before?
Song.
No.
It's like, it's not on the album. It's a single she released with Khalid but it's like legitimately, I think, one of the most beautiful songs I've ever heard.
Wow.
I highly
I
recommend.
think I heard that today.
I'm going to add it to my queue so that I'll listen to it tomorrow.
Yeah. It's super, super good. I think it's a good like entry point also for Billie Eilish's music. But her album is really good too. She uses a lot of fucking bass in the whole album, and I love it.
Nice.
And also, she has this. I love like because she has a really great range. She's only 17, by the way, and she has like a really amazing and like strong, developed voice, and she has an amazing range. And so on a lot of the songs where there's like really heavy bass, the part that she's singing is like very high pitched. And it's like a really cool contrast where like the melody is even like sometimes soft and like Wish You Were Gay is actually a really good example of it. Where it's like a really soft kind of like sad melody, but there's this just like deep bass underneath it that like, I don't know, I feel like I'd only ever associated the kind of like bass drops and shit with like dubstep and electronic music where it's like for like dancing to. But she like really effectively uses it to like emphasize the emotional aspects of her song.
Oh, that's
that
really
I've never
neat.
really seen like done before.
Yeah.
But it's
Have you been reading like the things that go along with when you play that album on Spotify?
no, I've
Ben?
just been listening to it while doing other stuff.
They're interesting.
I shall listen. She also has one song on the album that's has a bunch of quotes from an Office episode. Because she's obsessed with The Office, and the song "My Strange Addiction" like has a bunch of the lines from the episode where Michael shows his movie.
Oh my god.
It's so funny.
It is funny because the song is about. It's not about being
addicted to
she's not talking
The
about The
Office.
Office. No. Wow.
It's like about being addicted to a person.
Yeah.
But it's just like it's also the thing she's addicted to otherwise.
Wow.
Yeah, she actually Kylie and I watched a video of her on YouTube doing an Office like the Office quiz with Rainn Wilson. That was really funny, and she throughout the whole thing he kept calling her William Eyelash. So now that's like all we call her now.
Oh my god, that's so good. Oh my god, I love
William
it.
Eyelash.
Wow.
Do you have any things to say about this album, Hannah?
Yeah, I listened to it on my way into work today, and it gave me power.
Yeah, it's like a pump. It's like a pump up album for sure. It's like it'll make you feel strong.
It's the most amazing thing I've ever heard.
It really like I'll listen to it on the way to school in the morning a lot too for that same reason. Like it
gives you
like
power.
Yeah, it's like it powers you up for the day.
Wow.
It's fucking strong.
I love this.
It is strong. It is a strong album.
It's just strong. That's the best word for
I
it.
can't wait to see
It starts
this.
with
It's powerful.
It's not just powerful, it gives you power.
Yeah, no, it's not like emotionally powerful.
Wow.
Like it's like literally energizing.
Okay, I feel like if you'd mentioned this, I would have listened to this already.
Well, I saved it for the podcast.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, I cheated. You know, you asked us about I wish you were gay.
Yeah.
Because I guess she got flack for.
Yeah, she did.
So, Erin, did you listen to that song?
No, I didn't. I'm sorry.
It's okay. I'm not trying to call you out. I just like I want to
I
explain
feel
it
like
if
you
don't
were
know
queer
it.
enough to field that question from Ben.
Thank you.
Do you want
What an honor.
to tell the listener what that question was from Ben?
Yeah, Ben was asking from our queer point of views, I guess, whether we thought Wish You Were Gay was problematic. Because to explain to anyone who hasn't heard it, the song is about a guy that it's about like her having a crush on a guy who doesn't feel the same way back to her. And she's saying basically like, it's a little kind of embarrassing. Like, I wish I didn't wish this, but I just kind of wish you were gay.
Mm-hmm.
Like, because then there would be a good reason besides like just she's not good enough for why he doesn't like her.
Yeah.
I feel like I feel like I can relate to that feeling completely. I don't know. I don't really know that I see what the problem is.
I understand like how it could be construed as problematic if you don't listen to the song. Like if you just read that title,
if you're right, like maybe if you're reading the title and taking it as like, I wish you were gay because that would be such a terrible fate. Like, is that what people?
No, my understanding of why people got up in arms about it was like, or why I would imagine it if someone would is if there's like some indication of it like being a choice. Like I wish you chose to be gay instead of straight. But that's not at all in the song. So I don't know. I guess people just like
get in a tizzy is what I think.
Yeah.
Sometimes people just like to get in a tizzy.
They do. They're like on the prowl to get in a tizzy. They're on the tizzy prowl.
Yeah. I think it's just fine, and it's a really good song.
Yeah. It's not my favorite one on the album, though.
It's not, but it's good.
I'm getting a tizzy about it.
What is your favorite song on the album? You want to talk favorite songs?
Sure. I think you're right that she uses bass really well throughout the album, but in that song, in the chorus, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
I think Bad Guy, which is the first song on the album after she takes out her Invisalign, is really good.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
This is the first track on the album is her taking out her Invisalign.
Really
Oh my god. This sounds really fun.
The title is just a bunch of exclamation points.
Yeah. Also, so she I think made this album with her brother, who's also a musician, and they both were homeschooled, right?
Yes.
Losers. I'm kidding. I was homeschooled for the listener.
I think I don't love the song Zanny, but I think that she uses music again really interestingly in that song, and she kind of gets into it in the notes. That's why I was asking you, because the verses on that song are very like flowy and light and clean, and then in the chorus she talks about sitting in other people's secondhand smoke, and she brings in this weird like warbly bass line and makes it all kind of like unsettled and kind of uncomfortable on purpose in the chorus. And it's actually like not that pleasant to listen to in my opinion, but I think it's like a really interesting, it's like
very effective. It's trying to kind of convey that feeling. Yeah,
it's very evocative. It's like it's like sometimes she's using music to create beauty, and she does a lot of that, and sometimes she's using it to create like
power.
What I would call like actual art or power. Yeah.
She always uses it for
You
power.
Should See Me in a Crown is just like raw power.
Yes, I love that song.
Which one?
Love it.
You Should See Me in a Crown.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Just like you want to get fucking pumped up like at the gym or something, put that shit on.
That name is giving me power, and I haven't even listened to that song.
Yeah, she's like, if you think I'm pretty, you should see me in a crown. And when she goes in, like, the bass just, like, whomps up. Like, it's so good. It's really good.
I'm excited. I'm pumped.
Yeah, I like a lot of these.
I think When the Party's Over is my favorite.
When the Party's Over is very good. The video is really creepy. She's got a creepy edge to her. Is she like straight edge?
I don't know.
She doesn't do drinks or drugs.
Because she talks about that a few times.
Okay, this is interesting. In March 2019, Eilish said that she has never done drugs or smoked anything, and that these choices were strictly apathy.
Wow. That's what I said.
So she doesn't do drinks or drugs. Yeah, you were right.
It's strictly apathy.
I just don't care.
Yeah, that's fucking hilarious.
Wow.
That's kind of seems to be her whole aesthetic, which is cool.
Yeah. Yeah, she always wears really baggy clothes and just don't give a fuck. She's cool. The video for When the Party's Over is super unsettling.
Yeah.
It reminds me a lot of and I said this to Kylie when I first watched the video. It reminds me a lot of Tyler the Creator, his video for Yonkers.
I
never seen it. It's so, I don't even want to talk about it. It's so upsetting. That's one of those songs that Lucas, when we shared a room as a kid, used to listen to all the fucking time. Like, you know how he would go through these things where he had one song that he listened to over and over again. That was one of those songs, and it was often through YouTube, so the video would just sometimes be playing, and it was just The When the Party's Over is not as unsettling as that, but apparently she's like a huge Tyler, the Creator fan, so it might have been somewhat inspired by his whole aesthetics. Yeah, I think that's, I don't know if I have anything else to say. I think I've said all there is to say.
Power.
Yeah.
Click here for power.
Power up. Listen to Lovely also. That won't power you up, but it's beautiful.
It is lovely. Yeah, cool. Great obsession, Ben.
Wow, so
Thanks.
nice, Ben. I'm really excited. I also really enjoyed when Ben was telling us about when Ben was asking the queers about the song. He said this whole fucking album slaps, and I just thought this album as a whole fucking slaps, and I just love that. I don't feel like I had heard that jargon yet.
Oh, it fucking slaps though.
Yeah, I like it. It slaps.
When you hear it, that's the first thing you're gonna think. You're gonna be like, man, this fucking slaps.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. Oh, I think you do.
Like the Japanese House
like
album doesn't slap. Certainly, it's not slapping anybody except gently with a tender hand.
Yeah,
which is hardly slapping.
It caresses.
It's a caress.
Yeah. The Japanese house caresses.
This album caresses.
Yeah. Some slap, some caress. All are beautiful.
We gotta get that started. This album caresses.
Yeah. Oh man, love it.
Cool. Well, Erin, the weight
what you got
must have killed you because I know you're really excited.
I'm just super obsessed. So I actually have two obsessions, but one follows the other. So I feel like it's okay. The first one, the one that came first, is a television program by the BBC. And I'm watching it on HBO.
Oh, I bet I know what
it's Gentleman Jack.
Yeah.
Have you seen it?
I haven't, but I thought you would like it when I saw it.
Yeah, so what happened was Molly started watching it, and she stopped watching it because I was out of town, and she was like, I gotta stop watching this and watch it with Erin because she knew I'd like it. So,
I've heard it's really, really good.
It's amazing. So first off, if we're just talking about the show in a vacuum, I could be singularly obsessed with it. It's a really amazing show. The main character's name is Anne Lister. She's an amazing character. She's just like, it's set in the 1800s in England, and she's just like this like complete individual. She's she walks really fast. She dresses kind of more in a mannish way than the women of her time. She conducts her own business. She like is a lesbian and is not as out as she can be, as you could be for the time, right? Like she's not ashamed of her sexuality. She's not, doesn't hide it. She like has sex with a lot of women, like is like totally in the 1800s, right? So she's like this amazing character, and the show is like highly entertaining, really well written, just like has amazing jaunty music. It's beautiful. It's like so well done. The amazing thing about it is it's based on the diaries of a real person. Like Anne Lister was a real person who kept meticulous diaries. She wrote in great detail every single day of her adult life up until her death, even I think when she was younger too. And wrote in really graphic and vivid detail just like everything that was happening to her, including all of her like relationships with women and all of like the sex that she had with women. And she was able to do that because she was like extremely smart. She was like this super intelligent person who was just like a voracious reader and like had an insatiable thirst for knowledge. And she came up with her own, what she called crypt hand. And it's like basically like secret code that she would write, you know, kind of plainer aspects of her life in her plain hand. And then all of like the juicy bits she would write in this like secret code. And so she was able to like just, and like the language of lesbianism didn't exist, right? Like this like concept and these words and this like nothing existed. So she basically, because she wanted to communicate her experiences that she was having, that she wasn't ashamed of, like she was a religious person and felt that, like, God created her this way. Like, this is how she was. She wasn't gonna try to hide it, or she wasn't, you know, she was gonna try to hide it to, like, stay safe, but she wasn't gonna try to change or tamper it down. Like, she was like, this is who I am, which is amazing. And so she wanted to document this aspect of herself and these experiences that she was having. And so she came up with, not only you know, a way to write it down where she would have privacy, but also her own language. So she came up with all of these like, what are there, like, idioms for, or like, like euphemisms. She came up with her whole language of euphemisms for, like, for, like, all the experiences she was having with other women. Like, she didn't have anybody to talk to about it, right? There was no, like, we can have all these shared terms if we're, like, you know, talking about juicy, you know, things that happen. She came up with her own language and her own, like, there's special symbols in her diary for, like, like when she had orgasms, and it's like this whole thing. She wrote, in the end, I think, like, over 24 volumes, like 5 million words. Wow. Not to even mention her travel journal. She was also, like, an incredible traveler. So I'm obsessed with Ann Lister. I just, like, can't believe this person existed. I mean, of course she did, but the amazing thing was, like, that, not that she existed, because I'm sure, like, but that, like, her history has survived, right? Like, she wrote, she was, you know, obviously really neurotic, and wrote every single detail of her life down, and captured the history of, like, what happened around her so thoroughly. Like, just like we have the snapshot of this time and this person, because she happened to be in this particular way. And also, those journals survived. Oh, another thing was, she was in her 40s, which is when the show picks up, Gentleman Jack, which is an amazing show. And it kind of picks up in this kind of, like, down period in her life, where she's kind of, like, you know, I won't spoil it best I can, but she also decides, like, what she wants is, like, a wife, and achieves that. Like, it's amazing, right? Like, the 1800s, like, this happened. So anyway, she, so it's amazing she wrote these diaries, and also that they survived. And so they were basically protected by a series of people, and then some of her ancestors, I don't know in which time period, sometime, like, maybe 4 decades after her death, I think, decoded them. And one of the people who helped kind of decode her crypt hand, once they realized the nature of what was written, encouraged her family member to burn all of her diaries. Oh, and he was, like, really tempted to, but decided not to, and instead he hid them in the estate. And then they were found in the 80s. And a lady named Helena Whitbread was really...
Helena Whitebread.
Helena Whitebread was instrumental in, like, re-decoding them, and kind of, like, she wrote a bunch of, and edited a bunch of books, so you can actually, like, buy the diary. So anyway, so I'm watching Gentleman Jack. It came out last night. We couldn't watch it. There's a new episode out. Haven't watched it because of this, so I'll have to watch it tomorrow. It got picked up for season 2. I'm listening to the audiobook Gentleman Jack, which is a companion to the BBC series, and it's basically, like, a biography about her. And I have one of her diaries coming to me via Amazon, and there's, like, so much more to read, because she wrote so much, so I get to, like, just like, learn all about her. I'm really excited.
Why is it called Gentleman Jack?
So that's, like, a mean name. I don't know why it's mean. That's, like, basically what the people in her town started calling her, but apparently not until, like, after her death. Like, I think that's, like, yeah, I don't know what that means. Like, why that's a insult. So, like, the people in her town, like, basically kind of knew. A lot of them, like, there were definitely, like, rumors / like, it was kind of obvious. But, you know, it was one of those things that nobody really, that was, like, such, like, so not a thing, that she was kind of allowed to kind of, you know, get away with it. And it seemed like she was so, like, assertive and so, like, confident in herself and in her personality, that even though she was, like, totally countercultural and totally, like, you know, did things that most women didn't do. She totally was able to get away with it because nobody could. You can't. If somebody just presents you with their confident, authentic self, you can't really,
Yeah.
I mean, that's an amazing force. So she obviously listened to the Billie Eilish album.
Yeah, like I'm not a fan of action movies, and no one can.
Right, like nobody's gonna like come up against you, and you can't.
Yes,
Once you bring it to the table, I mean, it's really overpowering. So,
no, it's interesting. It's interesting because she sounds like an incredible person, but also I think what you're sort of marveling at and what is really like incredible about it is sort of the combination of factors in this person's personality and then what happened after her death that caused this all to be known, right? Like you hear whispers of like frontier, like people lived on the frontier together as like basically as a domestic couple who are like both women or whatever arrangement you can think of, that like nobody cared and they didn't really need to care. Like you hear like these like stories that are like of, that are probably true, but there's no way to confirm them, or like all kinds of things happen in smaller towns where people just get used to each other and it's always been that way, to some degree. Yeah. But here's like a story with all of its details just laid out before you that really happened.
Right. Yeah. And it's, if anything, it's like, it's remarkable and really cool to have, but also a signifier that this was happening. Like, like we have been here and also like maybe, and it's, these stories aren't remarkable. They are remarkable, obviously, but they're not remarkable because not only like was she, it was called like the first modern lesbian, but like that we know about, right? Like, and she was having sex with a lot of women. So obviously,
I was going to say
like,
a lot of women.
So, and she, she kind of like basically hint in her own kind of, euphemisms that she had to come up with, like hints at like she only knew like 2 other women who were, oddities like herself, basically like she knew 2 other butch lesbians, right? So it's like, we've always been here. So it's really cool. I feel like I've just like stumbled upon a treasure trove, which, I obviously like haven't done a lot of like, gender studies research or like that sort of thing, but it's really exciting for me. So.
That's awesome. I want to watch that.
Yeah, it's such a good
I'm
show.
interested now.
Like, even if this were a fictitious character, I would still be like, this show is fucking amazing. It would be my wholehearted obsession this week. It's just delightful.
Did you say how many episodes are out now?
There's 6 out now. I've watched 5. I've rewatched several of them. And it did get confirmed for a season 2. So
awesome.
Cool.
Yeah, and the people who are running the show are like really invested in her story. Like they're the writers of the show like really care about it and try to make it as have labored over the decisions of like what to include and what not to include, because there's so much material. And and just like listening to the biography along with the show, like the show is very dramatic. And there are some things that are a little dramatized, but like hardly, right? Like it's really cool.
That's so
nice.
cool.
Yep.
I'm gonna watch that.
Yeah, let me know what you think.
Yeah, I will too. We've been looking for stuff to watch.
Cool.
Us too. What's happening with the internet? There's just out of shows.
It's just waiting. It's just opening up a pocket for you to watch Gentleman Jack.
Okay. Awesome. Well, that's wonderful, Erin, and that's all the stuff. We should do homework now.
Let's do homework.
Yeah,
all the stuff.
That's all the stuff.
All the stuff that's fit to print. My homework is go listen to "Good at Falling" by the Japanese House. If you want like an audio caress.
Yep.
With some really great, also just like musical talent chops. Do that.
Chippy choppies.
Mm-hmm.
Chip, chip.
My Twitter is at Anthropology, like the study of people with an H at the beginning of it. That's also my Instagram. I have another podcast called So Dreamy, where we talk about dreams. I'll tell you guys what I was going to say afterwards. And
Cool.
And that's it for Hannah. So, Ben, what's your homework?
My homework is to listen to what's it called? When we sleep, where do we go?
When we fall asleep, where do we go?
Fall asleep, where do we go? By Billie Eilish, or just any of her music. Listen to Lovely. It's a great song. Ocean Eye is another good song that's not on the album. It'll pump you up. It'll give you power. It'll make you strong.
It'll slap you.
It'll slap you. It'll slap your face off. My Twitter is nicely proved Ben. My Twitch is I can't talk. It's Disco Greg. Watch me speedrun Pokemon there.
Do it.
It's fun.
It's fun. Me?
Mm-hmm.
Hello. My homework is to watch Gentleman Jack I'm watching it on HBO. It's on BBC. I think you can buy it on Amazon, whatever. It's so good. My other homework is to check out the real Ann Lister and all of the documents that you can find about her. There's a website here, annlister.co.uk. That's Anne with an E. And there's a great BBC article I read that kind of gives you like a overview. Listen to the audiobook. I mean, there's just like, I went from like 0 to 100 here. I mean, there's just like so much material here about her. My library doesn't carry any of it. Those fricks. My Twitter's at @ErinByrne. I still haven't been on Twitter for a while. My website's ErinByrne.com.
Nice. If you want to call us and leave us a voicemail and tell us what you're obsessed with this week, you can do that at 774-326-0420.
Blaze it.
You can follow the podcast on Twitter at @2BroadPod. You'll find out about the episodes launching before you can get them on Google Podcast because it's extremely slow to update for some reason. For me, anyway. You can find us on Instagram at WayTooBroad. You can email us at WayTooBroad@gmail.com. And if you missed anything that we just said, you can find all those links and all that social media and contact and stuff at WayTooBroad.com in the show notes for this episode, for anything you want, and www.earnben.com for anything you need. Is that website still up?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Great. Good. Make
Forever,
sure you check
baby.
that out. www.earnben.com.
I love how you asked. It takes a while to load, but it's worth the wait.
It's worth the wait.
There it is.
And if you enjoyed yourself today, please leave us a review on iTunes or Apple Podcasts or any place you can. And we'd really appreciate it. And you'd be so nice.
You'd be so nice.
You'd be so nice.
So on that note, the podcast candle is now extinguished.
It's gone.
It's gone. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
When you extinguish a podcast candle, where does it go? Bye.
It's just still there until next week. Yeah.